In the annals of American crime, there are monsters that fade, and there are those that haunt forever. They carve their names not just on their victims, but on the psyche of a nation. This is the story of one such phantom, a man who waged a war of terror in the sun-drenched valleys of Northern California, a cipher who craved fame more than anonymity, and who, to this day, whispers from the shadows. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer. Buckle in and turn off the lights. We're diving into a true story of unsolved mystery, coded messages, and a boogeyman who was all too real. Our story begins on a crisp December night in 1968 in the small city of Vallejo, California. Two teenagers, 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen, are on a date. It's a simple, innocent ritual, parked at a secluded lover's lane on Lake Herman Road, talking about their futures, their dreams under a canopy of stars. The car is warm, the world outside is quiet. It's a snapshot of young American life. But on this night, the American dream was about to become a nightmare. Another car pulls up. The driver doesn't get out, he sits, he waits. For David and Betty Lou, the headlights are just an annoyance, an intrusion on their privacy. They decide to leave. As David starts the car, the tranquility is shattered. The figure from the other car is now outside their vehicle. He raises a powerful 9mm Luger. He doesn't demand money. He doesn't say a word. He simply aims and fires. A single shot through the window. David Faraday is killed instantly. Betty Lou, terrified, scrambles out of the passenger side door. She runs. She doesn't get 10 feet. 5 more shots ring out, striking her in the back. She falls, lifeless, on the cold ground. The killer gets back into his car and vanishes into the darkness as quickly as he appeared. The police are baffled. A motiveless, brutal double murder, a senseless tragedy. But it was only the beginning. This was not an ending. It was an opening move. 7 months later, just a few miles away at the Blue Rock Springs golf course, another couple, Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau, are parked. The same pattern. A car pulls up, headlights blinding them. This time, the killer uses a flashlight attached to his gun. He fires again and again. Darlene is killed. Mike Mageau, critically wounded, survives. Just minutes after the shooting, an anonymous call is placed to the Vallejo Police Department. A calm, male voice claims responsibility for both the Lake Herman Road and Blue Rock Springs murders. He says, "I want to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, you will find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." The killer was keeping score. Days later, a bombshell. 3 Bay Area newspapers receive identical letters. "Dear editor," they began, "I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas." Inside was a detailed, complex cipher. A code. The killer demanded it be printed on the front page, or he would cruise 6 around all weekend and kill lone people in the night. He signed it with a crosshair circle, the symbol of the Zodiac. This was no longer just a murder investigation. It was a public conversation with a madman. The cipher was cracked in a week by a local couple. It revealed a chilling, narcissistic rant. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, sick, and all those I have killed will become my slaves." The Zodiac wasn't hiding. He was introducing himself to the world. The Zodiac's thirst for the spotlight was insatiable. His letters continued, each one more taunting than the last. He provided gruesome details only the killer could know to prove his authenticity. He designed his own slave uniforms for his victims in the afterlife. The public was gripped with a fear unlike any before. Every parked car, every lonely road held a potential threat. But on September 27, 1969, at Lake Berryessa, the Zodiac changed his method. This time, it was broad daylight. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard were picnicking by the lake when a strange figure approached. He was wearing a black executioner's hood with the Zodiac symbol stitched on the chest. He was calm, methodical. He told them he just wanted their car to go to Mexico. He tied them up, and then he did the unthinkable. He stabbed them repeatedly with a knife. Before leaving, He used a felt-tip pen to write on their car door, Vallejo, 12-20-68, 7-4-69, Sept, 27-69-6-30, by knife. He was cataloguing his work. Cecilia Shepard would later die from her wounds. Her last words to investigators were a detailed description of the killer's calm, monotone voice. She was helping solve her own murder with her dying breath. The terror peaked just weeks later in the heart of San Francisco. Cab driver Paul Stein picked up a fare in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. It was the Zodiac. He shot Stein in the head at point-blank range. This time teenagers saw the killer, described him to police. A massive manhunt ensued, with officers reportedly walking right past the killer, unaware he was their man. The Zodiac later wrote, mocking them, "The cops could have caught me if they had searched the park properly." He was a phantom, moving through the city unseen. As the years went on, the physical attacks stopped, but the letters continued. He claimed to have killed 37 people. He threatened to shoot children on school buses. He wrote that he was awaiting a good movie about me. The investigation was a maze of dead ends. There were suspects, of course. The most famous was Arthur Lee Allen. He was a pedophile. He owned a watch with a Zodiac symbol. He was placed near one of the crime scenes, and he was identified by a surviving victim, Mike Mergeau, decades later. But the physical evidence, fingerprints and DNA, never conclusively matched. He was a perfect suspect, but not a proven one. Then the letters slowed. The taunts became less frequent. The voice that had held California in a chokehold for years began to fade. Did he die? Was he imprisoned for another crime? Did he simply get bored and stop? The silence was, in many ways, more terrifying than the letters. It was a mystery with no resolution, a story with no final chapter. The Zodiac Killer was never caught. He was never identified. His ciphers, some of which went unsolved for over 50 years, have been cracked, but they revealed no name. He exists now as a collection of facts and fears, a handful of confirmed victims, a series of taunting letters, a few composite sketches, and that chilling, iconic symbol. The places where he struck are now just ordinary places again. But for those who remember, the shadow he cast is long and cold. The case remains open, a cold file in a detective's cabinet, waiting for that one tip, that one piece of evidence that will finally put a name to the phantom. So what do you think? Who was the Zodiac Killer? Was it Arthur Lee Allen or someone else entirely, someone who has never even been on the radar of the police? The mystery is yours to solve now. If you have a theory, share it in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you want to dive deeper into the world's greatest unsolved mysteries, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the unknown.